What's up, guys? It's going to be amateur demo review number 3. It's going to be from Fiber, aka Ronnie, and it's going to be an ECA pug on Dust 2. So starting off here, just to give some background on ECA, he's going to be playing with 4 random other players as his teammates. So it's like solo queuing and matchmake. So keep that in mind with in terms of the team's communication and some of his actions. Starting forward here, we'll go over some of the things that he did right and some of the things that he did wrong. One of the biggest things I could say is one of my videos I've actually released is called Mastering a Spot, and it kind of talks about working the same spot as a terrorist, every round, in and out, just so you can really read the opponent. Let me change that. And that really helps you read the opponent and kind of judge how you're going to counter them, how you should play the round out, what's their weaknesses, how can you capitalize on them. And that really helps you even develop and evolve your game a lot faster than randomly running around the map. And Ronnie was kind of, he had a good long spawn, so he was like, hey, I'm going to rush long. He ran out long, not really knowing how the long A's players were holding, and they actually were holding pretty good. They were throwing a smoke. They were smoking this, and then they were pop flashing the corners before they even peeked. So they were putting like heavy men here every single round to take control of this long A. So if he would have knew that, I'm sure he wouldn't have just ran outside long A, kind of balls deep, and died like he did there. So that if he happened to have been working this every round, he would know that, hey, they're smoking this, double nading it, pop flashing corner. It's kind of hard to rush it, and without like a full team support behind him, it's not going to be a good decision. We'll show a video of how he does it correctly, and also on that same subject, running through smokes is probably not a good idea. I would say 80% of the time, running through a smoke is not a good idea. So he kind of runs down mid here. Mid is smoked. He flashes over once like this, and just kind of Rambos out. Your chances of making this play happen is pretty slim, especially by yourself. I think he might have had like a really late spawn smoke coming out, but he kind of died, and that's just trying to make a really big play, and that's not going to be consistent in terms of evolving, and trying to improve. I mean, that might work, like I said, 20% of the time you might just get like maybe even an opper double zoomed over the smoke, or some guy not paying attention because who would run through a smoke, etc. But that's not really going to work on your consistency. So in terms of just running through a smoke, I don't advise doing against that. And you actually take mid really well another time. You smoke this mid here, you flash out. I'm not sure if you flash out. You check your corners, you go out, and you take it pretty well there. So I think what you can do if you really want to try to improve is, see which spot you like working on terrorist, kind of understand how the CTs are playing, and give some input into your team. Like, hey, they're really not playing long A all that heavily. I think next round we should just plow out long at the start. So let's smoke the corner, flash over, take control of long and pit, and then we can work from there. I think that's something that can really help your team and yourself, kind of learn the game a lot better like that. In terms of 1 round rushing B, or 1 round, running down here and then running out middle. You're not really getting a grasp on how the CTs are holding the map or how they're playing that individual spot. So you're kind of always going to get caught off guard unless you hit some really nice shots. So that's the first thing we're going to talk about. And here's the examples. Okay, so this round he runs out long A aggressively, and the DDs get smoked out, which eliminate his teammate from helping him. He gets flashed, ends up behind blue bin, and I mean at this point he's just got to make a big individual play, which just doesn't happen. He gets hit low to HP and then just gets grenaded. And here's actually a round later in the half, much later in the half, where after realizing how well they played long A, he didn't just ramble out, this is good play, Okay, they smoke the corner, he throws down a few blind shots, and then, chills, doesn't run through the smoke. So that was good play from him.
There's one low.
This round here, 5th round, he kind of just throws a flash over, runs through the smoke. You know, he kind of gets hit with a decent shot, but still, if someone was even staring at that smoke, it probably wouldn't have worked. And you know, running through smoke's never a good idea. Here is actually the third round, which actually he took out mid very well. He smoked CT spawn, waited for, you know, counter flashes a little bit. He did eat a flash, but once again, he did have some teammates to back him up, and he did a nice, you know, 180 flick back and killed that guy. Not a 180 flick, but, you know, gets a nice little spray on that guy. His teammates traded that guy running through the smoke. So this is better team play, better execution, better things all around. And this is actually going to set up to our next topic right here. So 2v2. Last two in spawn. He's just peeking really aggressively here. Ends up dying and then putting it into a 1v2.
Yeah, I'll bet you.
The second thing I want to capitalize on in this demo is talking about mid to late round aggression. When to peek, when not to peek. I think that's one of the biggest and hardest things really to learn for most people. And we'll break down some situations here that happened in the demo. So there's a 2v2 that happens at B. You guys mid to B split well, and then it ends up in a 2v2. Your teammate's in sight, and the other last two happen to be in CT. I don't believe that you knew the last two were in CT, but still, this situation could have been played better. And if you do happen to be outside the site here and you don't want to risk crossing back and dying, you can always set up a bait. I mean, this can be a good situation. You don't have to peek and just fight to your death. You can be like, hey, the teammate that planted your bomb. And I mean, communication can really make anything happen if done right. So as soon as he plants the bomb, he comes up here, he takes a few pop shots, maybe peeks over, kind of spots for some info, even takes a few pop shots like that, and he kind of baited for you. So now they're not going to be watching for you when they come up here. They might just blindly come up here and stare at window, and you might be able to, you know, catch people off guard. So that would have been a better way to play that last round. Instead, what you did was just peek and then give the counter-terrorist a chance to kill you, in which they did, and then you left your teammate in a 1v2 with no way to trade those kills. So, I mean, what you should have done is either just get into sight and then set up a nice crossfire with your teammate, whether it be, you know, any kind of simple crossfire where your teammates, where you set up a crossfire, and then, you know, you trade kills and then just play those proper angles. Instead, you kind of just died outside of B there and left your teammate to clutch. So in this example here, it's 3v3. It's the next video I'm going to talk about. It really could have been won if they had correct terrorist side setups and correct communication. As you'll see here, Ronnie does ask for a flash, which is good, but not everyone knows what's being watched right now, and they're caught off guard, and that's really what loses them the round.
No one, too dark. Why no one went dark? What the fuck? Pushing now.
Good job. God damn it.
It came down to communication. So, and you got that information too last minute. It was a 3v3. One guy outside of B is a counter-terrorist, and two flanking tunnels. Your guys' setup was site, behind door, and big box, and no one was really the tunnel guy. I'm not even sure if this guy even was watching the tunnels, but he seemed pretty surprised. And then he called two tunnels, and at that time, if you would have got that info maybe 3 seconds beforehand, you could have been like, okay, it's a 3v3, two of them are in tunnels. Your two teammates here, you and your teammate's site, should have just both pushed outside of B, killed the one guy, and then you could have held from outside the windows and doors and kind of just, you know, isolated the one guy and then worry about the other two later, because you're getting backstabbed coming in here. You killed one guy, I believe, coming in here. You turned around, killed one, and then the third guy traded you. And it would just need to be some communication. And you actually did communicate, say, hey, did you have a flash? Do you have a flash? Because you wanted to get flashed out and peek, which was good. But one of the things that you can do to help these things not happen is to call what you're watching. Say, hey, I have door. This guy here could have been like, hey, I have window. And then this guy would have been like, okay, door and window's covered. I should probably get our flank. And that would have really could have changed that situation. Because when you have bomb down in a 3v3, it's the terrorists, it's really the terrorists that are going to lose the round for themselves. They should always be able to hold that bomb site down with some good crossfires and setups. So it really wasn't your fault. but I think you could have helped change that round just with some good communication and maybe asking even what your teammates were watching. So here's just a quick example of you know, communicating well with your team, asking for a flash, and then capitalizing on it with a Glock, which is good. And then going into this round, we're going to talk about your late round decision making. And you do play this round really well up until the last second. You know, you're just spamming through the smoke here, nading cat, throwing off mid, pop flash in middle there. You know, just to keep the CTs on their feet, which I don't mind. Smoking mid here, textbook, jumping up cat. And it's going to end up being a 3v3. And, you know, you accidentally jump here, which was totally accidental, so we won't even talk about that. But you're in a 3v3. You don't know all of the CT's positions. And then, so this was good too. You even flashed and then tried peeking with it here. Getting another entry there. So out of nowhere, you just leave your teammate and then just Rambo out mid. And then you obviously die right there. So what should have happened there is A, you shouldn't have left your teammate. And we'll talk about B, how do we get the bomb? Because the bomb was dropped outside long A here. So you had your one teammate in pit. So scenario one, since there's so many different ways to play this, but one thing you shouldn't have done was just jump out middle like Rambo. Obviously, you're relying on, you know, crazy individual play out of yourself to make that happen. You don't know where the CTs are. So what should have happened? Your long A guy could have got out of pit safely, ran back, got the bomb, and met all three of you on cat. Or if he wanted, he could have got the bomb and then jumped back in the pit. And since it is a really good position, he starts working up long A while you two on cat watching your flank while he's still grabbing that bomb safely. So you're, you know, just watching lower B, watching mid DDs, see if you can get a free kill or if you can get a CT trying to flank you, and then your teammate could take that bomb back up long A, and then you could pinch long A, all three together, trade kills included, and that'd have been a couple scenarios that you could have played that a lot better. And then for this last little clip here, it's you getting squeezed at B. So the last couple minutes of the video are going to be tips on how to not get squeezed at B, guys. Okay, one more quick tip at B if you're the B player on CT. You need to make a couple quick decisions if you get mid to B split as the B player. So let's say they smoked spawn, your teammate at mid died, and you need to either get in a spot where you can block off one of the other angles, or give up the B site and just fight the mid players. Forget about the tunnels guys. Let's say you're playing here, your mid guy dies, you're giving upper B and the B site. You're just gonna try killing the people coming mid to B. That's one good decision. Another good decision is, let's say you happen to be like right here close tunnels. You don't want to wait for the guys in window to kill you, doors kill you, and tunnels here. So you're gonna say, hey, I'm gonna forget about the mid to B players, and I'm gonna push upper and just try getting this fight here, you know, and try winning this battle here. So then, if you do kill this guy, you're gonna have tunnels control, and you'll be able to split and retake that site easily. So those are two good options when you're getting B split as the B player. Is giving the B site and fighting mid, or giving the mid to B guys in B site and pushing upper tunnels, depending on your position. There are two decent spots where you can sit in the site, you know, block off one, so back plat here. You're forgetting about tunnels, and you're focusing on, like, a door and window, which is good, you know. You can't really do that in this spot that well. It leaves you to this angle and this angle, and if you're a little bit worse like this, maybe all three. This angle is pretty bad as well. You're getting split from just too many angles at once. You know, by the time these guys are out here, they're going to be shooting you, the door guys. So, once again, a bad spot. Sight is a pretty bad spot unless you're like right here just watching just this. And then it's pretty risky to make a... You can make a big play out of this spot, but it's not really like... This is what a last minute like, oh crap, I'm just going to... You know, you don't pick this spot to play in. So two good spots to actually hold it off would be back plat here. You know, take a few pop shots like that, watch your window. Or big box like this. You can block your window, watch just doors, and every once in a while you could, you know, quick pick into B tunnels, watch door. Or, you know, quick peek into that real quick, or get a guy dropping out of window. A lot of times when people come in like this, So you're going to kind of get them not looking at you for a split second with that angle. So the main point is to block all angles and only watch one. So here, you're watching door. Here, you're watching just window. And you can block off all the other angles. Or you can, choose the other decision and forget about one, fight the other. So that was just a quick tip for holding B, guys. And thanks for watching.